live from beautiful Bristol, Tennessee. Your favorite podcast / we're just going to stop calling it anything but Rumble Show.
That's it.
That's basically what we're
Right? Let's just call it Rumble Show.
Yeah.
Your favorite Rumble Show. Braver than the rest. Sitting in tonight with us is co-founder, heck of a guy, one of my BFFs, and that's Ben. Good to have you back with us again, brother.
Yes, sir.
And of course, as always, Jared, thank you for, opening up the facility.
Heck yeah, man.
And being a great co-host and she's researcher, grabber of all kinds of videos and stuff. And it's just really great to be here on this historic occasion. Saturday is my son's opening day of tackle football.
Hey, there we go.
I am, as a father, I couldn't be prouder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and
It's
my little guy, 6 years old,
Just make sure to get videos of him laying these kids out.
dude. I did. I got one.
That's what I want to see.
I got
They
one. I'll show you.
they outlawed crack blocks.
I
Not today,
I like
sir.
big hits. That's what I want to see.
I'll show you one after the show, man. He takes this kid as halfback and just drills him into the dirt. So it's pretty great at 6,
That's awesome.
And I blame his mother. He's angry internally. And so, he's taking all that anger out on the kids. So she doesn't listen.
I was going to say, does she
doesn't
listen?
That's constructive violence. That's all that is.
She doesn't
It's
listen.
good for him. It's good for him.
So on the docket tonight, we've got quite a bit of stuff. And I know everybody's not wanting, actually. I don't think anybody wants to hear the name Kamala again,
Ooh.
right? I'm so fed up with hearing about how awful this VP pick is. We all get it. He is a raging hemorrhoid of a liberal.
Yes.
And I did a whole video on him today on my Continue Freedom podcast
Yeah.
about his. Some people are calling it stolen valor, but he was a lot of embellishments about his military career.
Oh, he never.
Cowardly, resigned so he didn't have to deploy with his unit.
Yes.
Yeah, it was bad juju,
He's
man.
awful.
Bad
And then,
juju.
of course, we could bring up just for a second about the story that broke about Kamala's husband, I guess before they were married,
yeah. And his previous wife.
got the nanny
got the
pregnant.
nanny
and
pregnant, yep.
I kind of think okay, what goes around comes around, right? I mean, they're both homewreckers.
Yeah.
So and it's only a matter of time before, I'm not gonna pretend to wax prophetically here,
Right.
but I foresee a failed marriage in the future between those two, if it isn't already failed.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
they're
it-
just coexisting.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
because you can't, here's the thing: you want to base your life around integrity.
Mhm.
Let's start by maintaining the commitment that we made to the person who has committed their life to us. If you can't do that, then I can't trust you in, I don't know, any other arena.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so yeah, that's a hot mess.
It is a hot mess.
And the thing is she broke up willingly
Oh, absolutely.
broke up a home, and so you can't trust that kind of serpent either. And anyway, but enough about.
Well, I think Kamala came on board after all of that stuff because that was with his first wife. They split, and then he got with Kamala.
But then with
is that right?
her with like Willie Brown.
Oh, with her with Willie
Oh,
Brown.
yeah.
Yes.
the very
Okay,
reason
yeah.
she is
wouldn't-
where she
yeah,
is
she wouldn't be
is
here.
because
Yeah.
she's
Well, and Arsenio Hall.
and yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. So
Okay.
she was with
whoop
Arsenio.
whoop whoop.
He was. Yeah. It was him. It was her. The famous video of her with Arsenio and one other
girl.
Or what? Hold on. It was
Not Arsenio.
no, it was oh my goodness, he had a talk. Montel.
Montel. There you go.
Oh,
Thank you.
yes,
Montel.
Montel. Yeah,
Montel.
Yep.
he didn't go whoop whoop whoop. Montel. It was Montel Williams.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's Montel and Kamala, and then one other woman.
Man, I might have spread some disinformation because I think I said that in the video.
That's why you're banned from Facebook.
That's why I'm banned
Yeah,
from Facebook.
YouTube and
Yes.
Facebook. Yeah, we are just all sorts of trouble, aren't we?
Yeah.
So,
Well, that was unintentional.
so I think though tonight, last week we had I thought last week was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was so much fun.
The stupid memes.
Great viewership too last week.
because
We had a
people
lot
are
of people.
tired of hearing all this. They're just tired of hearing the politics.
Yeah.
They really are. It's overwhelming. And, we've talked about it where it's so important to stay guarded in your mind, because if all you do is read this stuff and study and research and go, did he really say that? I got to find out. And so all you're doing is diving into areas that, truthfully, man, for your own health and sanity, you probably have no business going, right?
Yeah.
And but last week was really refreshing because we didn't do any of that. Really, we did very little of that. We did a little,
Yeah.
bit, but so yeah, I mean the fun memes. There's so much funny stuff out there. I know you probably pulled some stuff up today, even.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Oh, look at
Yeah.
this. Yep.
Here we go.
Yeah,
There you go.
who isn't struggling to buy
Boy,
groceries?
If
That's
that
right,
ain't
man.
Rent. Did you see what his wife bought for a car? It's I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna pull
Probably
it
a
up.
Maybach or some.
Yeah, oh yeah,
crazy
yeah,
thing.
it is. But yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
But now here's another one. I pulled up a couple of these. Isn't that what you said, Karen?
Yeah, right, right.
Oh, this one has to do with the what we're going to talk about tonight. If the Palestinians,
Oh, yeah.
threw Hamas out of Palestine, Israel wouldn't have to. So true. Goodness gracious, so true.
She got a Bugatti.
Oh gosh, that's a $2 million car, isn't it?
Millions.
That's
Yep,
interesting.
she
That's
spent
interesting.
millions.
Yeah.
she got.
I mean, I'm
Bugatti.
sure that was like,
I think
I'm sure that was money that she made fair and square, and
But
Oh,
did
yeah.
she? So here's the question, though. Here's the question I have: Did she buy it with U.S. dollars, or did she pay for it in rubles? Because rubles would be cheaper, probably.
all I can tell you is that Andrew Tate got one, and I think he said he paid. I think it was over $2 million for one.
Buddy,
Yeah,
Is it-
that's taxpayer money right
could it
there.
be a lease? She leased it?
she could have leased it. Do they lease Bugattis? I'm just asking for a friend. And
Rental? Was it a
What's the
rental?
mileage limit on that one? That's
what's the lease payment?
500 miles a year on a Bugatti.
Right? I tell you, I'm calling Enterprise tomorrow. I'm gonna see what they got.
Yes.
My wife and I have a nice little weekend getaway planned.
Man.
I'm gonna rent the Bugatti.
Oh wow.
Hey, if any of you
Yeah, you
listeners have a Maserati or Bugatti or
Yeah.
something you want to lend me for the weekend,
Yeah.
You can if you go to
take my
Vegas.
wife.
They've got
They
you can
do.
buy
Oh,
and
yes.
rent supercars. in
yeah, and
Vegas.
there's that app
cheap.
that you can get where my buddy Trey showed me. It's an app where you rent somebody's car while you're there. I don't remember the name of it, but yeah, if anybody knows, if you're online listening right now, go ahead and chime in if you know the name of the app where you can rent cars that are personal vehicles for somebody's personal vehicle, but they put them up to
terrified.
rent. Yeah, it's a thing. People do it.
Well, it's going to be that way with Tesla. I mean, Tesla's already said with their auto driving, you're going to be able to turn your car into an investment because it'll be an auto taxi whenever you're at work.
It'll just drive around, pick
It'll
people
just drive
up, and drop
around,
them off.
be an Uber, generates you some income, and then parks back in your spot at work. Yeah, it's all planned out. Elon Musk, man, he's going to take over the
he's
world.
a genius. I'm all for it.
is. Oh, he
if
is.
he can figure out how to make that Tesla do the dishes at my house, then I'd buy one.
Yeah.
You know? But I'll tell you, the boys and I have been playing a game for the last couple weeks, driving to football practice. We got a 40-minute drive because the team that's local is full.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we get to sign up 40 minutes away. So anyway, 40-minute drive. We play the Tesla game. Tesla. I mean, it started out innocent enough. I'm so fed up with it. They're everywhere.
Oh, they are.
They used to be fun. It used to be fun and kind of like, ooh, there's Tesla. There's a Tesla truck. You know, now it's like we've seen 3 of those this week. Okay.
Tesla trucks are, listen, they're so, I hope, they're so ugly. I hate those those things, man. I saw a black one. I don't care what color. It's just, I can't do it.
What's funny is I picture when you park, when the Tesla truck is parked, it should be Arnold Schwarzenegger getting out from Terminator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Not a 5'3"
No.
with pigtails, woman. Like, you have no business in there.
I just think that a truck that'll do. They're cool. They're novel. They're not. I ain't gonna replace my F-150 with a Cybertruck.
I'm going to go haul some rock or dirt in that thing.
You might not have a choice.
Well, you spend that much on one of them, it's like you don't want to mess it up. Although a
Yeah.
F-150 is about as bad. It's dadgum.
Well, and that's the other thing, right? We're driving around playing a Tesla game, and I pull up behind a Ford Super Duty F-250, right, with dualies,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
new. And I'm like, boys, that's just as much money as a Tesla. It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
the status. There's no status attached to this,
Oh, they're insanely expensive.
right? I mean, the farmer has more clout. You know what I'm saying? You go ahead and drive your Tesla. The farmer might as well be driving a Bugatti.
Listen, in a farming town, that's a bad truck.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I mean, you know,
you're someone. You got one of those. So.
yeah.
I think they're trying to price farmers out of having new trucks. That's why they make them so daggum expensive.
I think they're trying to
they're
price all of us out.
Yeah.
You know,
They want us to. They want to force us into getting electric cars so they control how far we drive, control where we go.
15
I'm
minutes.
gonna tell you right now, I ain't doing it. Get off my lawn.
I agree.
Get off. I ain't buying an electric car.
I
I'm
agree.
not doing
Get
it.
off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
Tell you what, right now, get off my lawn. So what's going on overseas right now? Because this is what, you know, the bright lights and shiny stuff that's happening is really hindering our worldview. And that's dangerous, especially in this time. Last I heard yesterday, the Biden administration announced that they're close to getting a hostage deal and a ceasefire negotiated, right? Today, Israel and Hamas both were like, no, we're not. No, we're not. I don't know what kind of sunshine they're blowing over there, but no, this ain't happening. And not only is it not happening, we're not speaking about this, but we're having trouble in Syria. We're having trouble. Lebanon is going to be gone soon, right? Iran, they're talking about Iran. You do hear this in the news a little bit. Iran is going to launch, you know,
They're
is
close to
planning.
Yes, the nuclear.
Yeah, they're planning stuff. I will tell you this. I do believe if Iran were to launch something of that capacity, that God is big enough to just take his finger and push that missile right back down on them.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
count it as a misfire.
yeah, it'll be a misfire.
Oh yeah.
What's going to happen is it's going to fall on a orphanage in Yemen, and they're going to blame Israel
Yep.
because that's what they do,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So what do we got? We've got the world on fire, the Biden administration lying to everybody.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Haven't seen him in.
No, it's been a minute.
Well,
This is an opportunity. You know, everything's popping off all over the world. Kamala is now in the headlines, and Tim Walz. Is it Walz or Waltz?
Walls.
Walz. Okay, I've heard it pronounced both ways. So Tim Walz is the talk of the town, and she's got a VP pick. He's going to be completely insignificant. But this is a time for Joe Biden to cool his jets, to get his blood transfusion and get his blood swapped out.
That's right.
Filter everything out of his system, get him freshened up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then they can run him back out and have him
wave.
Yeah,
and
have him
kiss
wave
a
couple
girl.
times.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
you saw him getting on the plane, right?
Sing happy birthday to somebody.
I did see that.
Oh man, he's a mess.
Dude.
He had no idea where he was.
We knew that. We knew when this came out, when he announced that he wasn't running, we knew that we would see him very, very little.
Yeah.
I mean, they come out and say, "Oh no, you might even see him." The White House says, "Oh, you might even see him more than." No, we're not going to see him more. He is fading into the shadows, and it's like, It's the question: who's running the country? How is
Well, but the answer is the same as it's been for the
Exactly.
last 3 years. So it's like, who's running the country if he's this bad? The same person that got him elected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's the administrative state that's actually making the decisions, and that's frightening because, like what you were talking about,
None of those are
with this,
elected.
we got hostages, U.S. hostages,
Yeah.
in foreign countries that we're negotiating with sycophants, with sadistic terrorists. Who is actually giving the guidance on these negotiations?
Yeah.
It's a big, big deal, and it's almost like we're
You know who needs to? Denzel Washington. I think he would be great as a negotiator. We would have him.
great as an equalizer?
He is a great equalizer.
buddy.
Wait, wasn't he in the negotiator?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That was,
Yes.
it's like, did I miss the joke? No, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Denzel would kill it. No pun
yeah,
intended. But yeah, we've got a lot going on. I mean, this isn't in the news, but so the Ukraine launched a counteroffensive into Russia. Did you guys know that?
Dude, I didn't even hear that.
Yeah.
Nope.
And I know you're a watcher.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like you pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to.
Ukraine mobilized. They're in Russia.
Never heard. That's crazy.
Yep.
Never heard that.
So nobody's talking about that.
No.
Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's nobody's talking about the Arab forces that have begun capturing Syrian oil fields from the Americans.
I saw that today.
Today you saw that?
Yes.
Okay. The Syrian tribal forces captured 81.2 square kilometers in this offensive so far. The U.S. has begun airstrikes.
And this was where?
Syria.
Oh, in Syria.
Yeah.
You know, have you seen the general that he came out? It's probably a year old, and he was one of the guys working in the Pentagon when right after 9/11. And he said that one of his advisors or somebody he worked with in the Pentagon brought him a letter and said, you know, hey, I'm making up the guy's name. Hey, Bill, we're going into Iraq. And he said, wait, why are we going into Iraq? And he said, I don't know. And then he comes back and it was like, hey, we're going into Afghanistan. And he was like, wait, why are we going into Afghanistan?
I don't know.
I don't know. And he said, look, here's this memo that shows how we're going to take out 5 countries over the next 5 years. And it was Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Sudan was one of them.
Huh.
And so it was, here's the opportunity. It's never let a crisis go to waste.
Yeah.
And here's that was the inflection point, right? That got us into all these other conflicts, you know, in Syria. We have no business being in Syria. We've never declared war with Syria, but we're bombing people in Syria all the time and have been for, you know, a decade or however long it's been. And it's that.
Yeah, and Lebanon, I will tell you, Lebanon is a problem. They're a problem. And they won't be for long because I think, you know, Israel has just kind of resolved to, we're just going to unleash on them. It's over. And I don't know how long that would last with them. I know that they've got a dilapidated military. You know, it's almost like Hamas is probably more dangerous than Lebanon.
Yeah, I mean, so it's no matter which way you slice it, right? We're talking about it's going to be urban centers. It's going to be Israel fighting a counterinsurgency. Counterinsurgencies are bloody, long. They take massive amounts of time and resources and blood and treasure.
I will tell you though, the way that they dealt with Hamas is the way to do it.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, that was a massive insurgency.
Right.
It's pretty much.
I mean, it's going to continue, but they have to make sure because that's one of those things you can't leave. I almost think sometimes it's an unwinnable situation.
Yeah,
because you're trying to remove every seed of that infection, which is Hamas, from a society.
Okay, we can pause just for a second because it's not just the seed of Hamas.
Right.
It's not. It's the seed of radical Islam.
Right. Yeah.
And it's Islam, period. That needs to be
reformed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because it's, as we believe, you know, it's demonic at its core.
Yeah. It's the antithesis of, for us, Christian values, right?
Yeah.
It's the antithesis of it. And it's one of those things, there are peaceful Muslims, but that's almost as if you're reading things as the exception, right? The rule and the follow to its core. It's gonna meant to eradicate Jews. It's meant to eradicate Christians from the face of the earth.
It's apparently meant to eradicate Hindus.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah.
So,
pull that up.
I mean, happening today in Bangladesh, right?
Ooh, there it went.
Hanging bodies of political opponents from lampposts and trees.
Yeah.
Where is the media on this? Nobody.
I mean, this is like scenes we haven't seen in years, and you would think that would be on your TV screens.
Yeah, but no, it doesn't fit the narrative. Number one, number two, what do you say if you're in Dearborn, Michigan? Like you don't want to say anything about this,
right? They're having prayer calls from the mosques.
Yeah, I mean, so you got to be really careful what you say. I don't want to point this out that they're hanging people.
Well, it's strange how it's become that is a protected class of people, and it's a protected class of people predominantly from the left. You have freedom of religion in this country. You can worship however you want.
Absolutely.
To worship, right? That's a beautiful thing, wonderful thing, meant to be preserved. If you follow Sharia and all that to its core, you lose that right. That right is now becomes
You have the right to worship Allah.
right.
That's
right.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Muhammad.
And so
Yeah.
it's creeping its way into American society. It's creeping its way into European society.
Oh, it's terrible in the UK.
Oh, yeah.
It's off the chain.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if y'all saw. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
So I don't know if y'all saw and I don't know what polls mean. I don't know if polls are like skewed right now, faked. I have no idea. Don't know what the deal is about polls. But as soon now that Kamala has announced Walz as her VP instead of Shapiro, Michigan has heavily favored towards Kamala. Heavily, like 15 points. Because, not that she's going to win it, but because of the huge amount of Muslims there. I mean, because if she were to pick Shapiro,
Yeah, they all hate him
oh, buddy,
because he believes Israel has a right to
yes,
exist,
exactly.
right?
So,
And I think the other half of it is you're looking at a group of, there are pockets, Minnesota, Michigan.
oh yeah,
Wherever these pockets exist is where you end up having to pander to them because when they get angry, they get violent.
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's the difference. We're angry. I'm angry. What this administration has done to our nation, I'm angry about. Right?
Trump gets shot, we get angry. We don't go.
We didn't burn
kill
down
people.
any towns.
No, we don't. No.
Yeah.
Right?
Like-
I mean, I'm angry that I got an email from the U.S. Department of Education this week. Did you get that?
I did not. No.
Talking about Biden's forgiveness for student debt.
Oh,
Wow.
Thank you, Biden. and it's from the U.S. Department of Education.
yeah.
But the people that are protecting, when like I say, what I was going to say before is with a protected class of people, when you have a class that is protected, like Islam, it's being protected by the left, and Islam stands in opposition to everything that they use as a core message, whether it's the transgender movement, it's the, LGBTQ, all that kind of stuff. It flies in the face of it because we're seeing, like this, they're hanging people. They will, push homosexuals and folks like that off the tops of buildings.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes I can't wrap my head around that mind virus
I
that
can't
people
either.
are infected with.
I can't either.
It's like that video you sent me about where was that one? The girl that was walking down the street interviewing people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this one. Here, this is great.
I have not seen this.
Yep.
Okay.
If it'll play.
Here we go.
I'm curious to see how people will react learning about the deadliest concert in history once they find out it took place in Israel. And I wanted to ask if you've heard about the music festival massacre.
No. No, I'm not.
I have not heard about it.
No, I haven't. Tell me about it.
This massacre took place in a desert. About 3,000 young people came to celebrate life. This whole festival was about peace. And 364 people were murdered by terrorists, and 40 plus people was taken as hostages from this music festival.
That's so sad. I haven't heard of that.
Honestly, it's kind of up. Holy crap.
I think it was horrible.
I feel bad that I didn't know about that. Where was it?
How would you feel about the fact that it took place in Israel?
I don't agree with that.
I'm not surprised, obviously. Palestinian people have been seeking liberation for years. They've had to resort often to acts of violence to make their voices feel heard.
There are a lot of different other things on top of this, all sorts of violence occurring to Palestinian people that's ethnically cleansing them.
Their population has just grown in the past few years tremendously. How is it an ethnic cleansing?
I don't know enough to keep talking about this. Conversation needs to end here.
Actually, I'm from Israel. I've been in the military for 5 months, and I treated Palestinian people.
Don't want to participate in this interview anymore.
Before every attack, they make sure to evacuate the place.
It's not true because there are many Palestinians killed.
And who provides these numbers?
I don't know. I don't want to talk about that. It's not fair because it's not our native language, so we just can't really.
It's not my native language as well, but I don't run away from conflicts. On October 7th, at the Nova Music Festival, 364 people were murdered. 40 plus was taken as hostages. These people just came to celebrate music, to celebrate life, and to celebrate peace. It could have been any one of us.
I mean,
That's like when and I love these things, that's like when they go out on the streets and they just start talking to people about policies for one candidate or the other.
The Charlie Kirk stuff, those guys, yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, well, what do you think about that? And they're like, oh, gosh, that's horrible. Well, since you said you're voting for so-and-so, that's actually his policies.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
oh. It's like they don't know what they're supporting. They have no idea.
Well, I think rather than
Some of them do.
the argument point of it, because this is what we do, right? We get on and argue, and we argue with our friends, our family, our parents, and everybody, right? You know, Dr. Briscoe always has, he loves to say this: show your work. Show your work. You know, all right, you want to talk politics with me and you want to disagree with me, fine, show your work. Where are you, like she said, where are you getting that information from?
Yeah.
Who's providing you with that information? Because, you know, my father and I, you know, who I love, we had this conversation this week, and Dad, who are you listening to? Because if you're listening to Fox, you're getting one side, purely one side. And for our audience, right, who the majority are conservative Fox lovers, right, Trump supporters, you're going to hear what you want to hear. And because you look at it on Instagram, you're fed the algorithm. So you just keep getting fed the same narrative over and over and over. There's always two sides to every story. There's always, this is a two-headed monster. But I love what J.D. Farag said. It's two sides of the same coin. Left and right, they're both batting for the same team. They're not, you can say, well, that's, they're not controlled. No, they are. Anybody that's been in politics for more than 15 minutes is controlled. They're bought and paid for it. They're going to do what they're told to do because they don't want to lose votes. What was refreshing about Trump is that, he made it pretty clear nobody's buying him because they can't afford him.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't care about your money.
Yep.
He just wants to do what he wants to do, and whether you agree with that or not, that's another issue altogether. Because there are things he did we don't all agree with everything that he did.
Sure.
But I will say I admired him because he stood in front of it and went, right? He did it with tactlessly a lot of times, which is one of the reasons why so many people are like, I'll vote for anybody but him. Because he didn't know how to say things. He wasn't eloquent. He's not a politician.
Right.
And so he ran people off with being a New Yorker. He's mean. That's what that's the thing.
Well, they come across, I say they, you're one of them. Yeah. You've lost a lot of, I would assume you've lost some of your New York edge.
My wife has, and my wife and a few people that especially when I moved here, that were on the worship team with me, had to speak into my life about that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Where, like, girl, I'm not mad at you. You sound like it.
Yeah.
So you need to figure out how to say that differently because that is actually affecting me.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. But yeah, New York is a.
But that to a lot of other folks, to many, many folks, that's what was refreshing about it, is that he.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's unpolished, and I have a hard time with the folks that can't get over an unpolished delivery because results are what we're looking for. Right?
Yeah.
And so he says these mean things. I didn't like the way his delivery was at first. I had some real trepidation about him in 2016 because of the way he said I was freshly out of the military and off of active duty, and the way he said he was going to handle the generals, I was like, you can't do that. You can't. Well, I just didn't understand his delivery.
Right.
And I came around to that by 2020, obviously. But other folks, they can't let go of it. It's like, I need and I think we've talked about this before, but we need the pressed, perfect politician who says all the right things. We need GW didn't say the right things, but we need an Obama.
They're polished. They're very shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And God's been good to us. He has given us a lot of the right people at the right times, even though they were nefarious. You look at the Bushes, and he was the right guy on 9/11, but he was also the one that got us embroiled in a 25-year-long war.
Yeah.
But for the health of the nation, he got us through that, and we were unified because he did a good job as far as that's concerned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's wins here and there.
Even though he planned it.
Do you think?
I don't.
I keep watching.
Dude, I can't.
I have gotten into these
so many things.
These 9/11 videos,
Yeah.
Building 7.
I know.
Oh, bro.
I don't understand it, dude. I watch it and go, wait a minute. Why is that?
See, here's the thing.
Why are the windows blowing out?
You were there.
Well, I wasn't. That wasn't.
Well, I know you weren't
tower.
like. I know you weren't like this, but
Right.
like you were.
Yeah, we lived in
There.
Long Island. We were there, friends and family
Yeah.
members. Yeah.
And it is weird when you see the slow motion videos of every floor. First off, those buildings were built to not do what they did.
Yeah.
Top should have fallen, yes, but the rest of the building obviously should have stayed. And to see the floors going like,
Yeah.
it's like,
Going in free fall.
that's not.
Yeah,
That's
well,
a demolition. That's different, dude. I don't know, man.
The question you have to ask, though, I mean, whether it was or wasn't,
Yeah.
I see it, and I never say it. I'm saying it now on
we're
a
saying
podcast,
publicly, right?
but I rarely say it publicly.
We've
'cause
just
I'm
lost like hundreds of viewers.
I'm like,
This-
people will think that I'm an absolute kook if I
yeah,
say
nut
this.
job, right?
But you see more and more of it. And
Oh,
you're
I know.
like, oh,
And you see more and more people that are reputable who are saying,
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense because those floors are falling on top of floors.
Yes.
yeah.
And
Well-
they shouldn't free fall.
The strongest steel possible.
So
And the angle cuts that they use to level a building, so they cut the vertical beams at an angle so that when they shear, the building will fall more closely to straight. And it's the photos of the wreckage are littered with vertical cut with horizontal or the laterally cut beams that look exactly like a shape charge that they use to cut buildings when they fall them. I don't know. People are going to be like, all right, these guys are nut jobs.
No, this is our breakout moment, guys.
yeah,
This is-
this is it. Yeah.
But do you think?
we've arrived?
Here's the question. Do you think that the U.S. federal government has the capacity, there are people in the deep state and all of that, to do something that catastrophic?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So does the vast majority of the American populace, right?
If you trust the government at this point in your life,
Yeah.
I don't really know what else to tell you.
No.
Yeah.
And
I think that was that is one thing I'll say about Trump. He did shine a light on a lot of areas. And what's funny is rather than the cockroaches going to hide, they doubled down
oh yeah,
and went after him for shining a light on him, right? And we're still seeing it today, right? He's got court cases, he's got this. I mean, I don't know how a 20-year-old can make a bomb without looking up how to make a bomb.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't
when
happen.
I will tie this back to what you were saying before. When you talk about being in a 25-year-long war, who stands to benefit from a 25-year war? The military-industrial complex. And the military-industrial complex, since the 50s and 60s, when Eisenhower warned us about it, those folks, they made billions and billions of dollars. So when we're talking about, a country like, that wasn't the one I wanted to pull up, but when we're talking about the conflict over in Israel and the negotiations, I just had the photo. Where did I put it? Either way, hostage negotiations. We're talking about escalating conflict. We're talking about administrative state people who are not elected by we the people getting involved in a foreign country where it could pop off into World War III. That's, if they're willing to do that in America, they have zero. If they were willing to orchestrate something like maybe the unaliving attempt of a president. I don't know if I can say the other A word, otherwise we'll get banned. But they try to unalive a president. Some people say there's a lot of conspiracies out there that this was done by the government. What do they care about a foreign country if it's going to help them sell more weapons? If it's going to help them,
Right. And if they're willing to do it to their own people, right, to make money or whatever, they're definitely willing to. And, you think about it, and here's the thing, I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. When Kamala wins this election, right, even though she's outvoted, I mean, that Joe Biden had the highest. Nobody has voted.
Nobody.
In the history of this nation, there hasn't been that amount of votes cast for a single. He is so loved.
Yeah.
Right? So you tell me.
I know.
I mean, so when she's elected, right? What do you think the establishment, the war machine, is going to be ecstatic? They're going to be ecstatic because she'll just.
I can't even imagine it because you got Joe, who's just completely incoherent.
Right.
But then you got Kamala, who is actually coherent, and just I don't know, man. It's
Listen,
terrifying to even
a
think.
box of salad could do a better job.
Well, no, I get it.
I mean,
I'm not saying she's
coherent. She can breathe. She's breathing and walking and laughing all the time.
Right.
Right.
She's not laughing anymore. If you all have noticed, she ain't doing that laugh anymore because somebody has told her.
Yeah, her handlers
gotta
are
quit
like,
that.
you got to stop laughing.
Yeah, buddy.
You are the laughing stock.
Yep.
Right. Everybody's mocking you.
Yep.
Gutfeld. They're mocking you.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they just mock. But here's the big thing about what's going on right now. There's one common theme. Get outside of our little political arena here with Kamala. Well, I mean, we could probably stay there because I'm sure that she's Islamist too, right? Because she seems to be everything else. So,
She's multiculturalism.
That's right.
All wrapped up into one package.
yeah. Did you see the interview they had in the barber shop?
yes.
Yeah.
Pretty
I
telling.
wonder if I could find that video.
Yeah, man, that was a great video.
Sorry, you got to go on a dog hunt now, right?
Yeah, I'm
Try
going to
find
go on a dog hunt.
But it's a classic
was
video of like, and if it's not ringing true,
I mean, they asked the barber, and he's like, "Oh,
yeah, no, I'm
defer
not
to
so
you."
sure
I
about
don't know
that. Yeah, I don't know about that. But the common denominator of what's going on outside our four walls here in the political arena seems to be Islam.
Yeah.
So I want to stay on this for just a second because in Austria this week, Islamist terrorists were caught trying to blow up a Taylor Swift concert.
Oh yeah, that got canceled. Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. So 2 known assailants that had ties with ISIS were planning on blowing up innocent people. For what? Well, first of all, for their reward. And this is what we have to get our minds around.
Yeah.
When you're taught an ideology that you get a cookie for killing a Jew,
Yeah.
then, I like cookies. Right?
Money's good too.
Money's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
like all of it.
Yep.
So 2 men were arrested. I mean, you
Here's
look
another one. This one's here in the U.S. Let him out on bail. Tried to drive a box truck into Quantico.
Okay, so I heard about the Quantico thing, and I never saw the specifics of it. Okay,
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
Yep.
gosh, dude.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's
But
good.
you
It just,
said it, and I
it
was
just
like,
proves the point, right?
yeah, it's like it happens here, but weak criminal justice system. It's like, oh, let him out on bond. $10,000 and $15,000 bonds.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
One of them came across the southern border. The other one overstayed a visa.
Well, and the other one, I don't know if you had this on your list, so sorry if I steal your thunder on this, but the ones that were just arrested for planning assassination on Trump.
Yeah. Or on a political figure, it said. They didn't come out and name Trump.
Okay.
They just said on a political figure. Well, who do you think
Yeah,
that's talking
yeah,
about?
exactly.
Yeah.
I said the A word, so I don't know.
Yeah, well.
I didn't even think about that.
It's fun. I hate having to self-censor. It
Yeah.
drives me nuts.
We are already off because of 9/11.
Rumble is,
Yes,
I mean,
that's true.
if we're still on everywhere, which I don't know if we are, just come on over to Rumble. Rumble's
I
at
want to
least
encourage people. Rumble is where it's
Rumbles,
at.
yeah,
yes,
that's good.
please.
Why
please,
Rumble
please.
isn't bigger than YouTube is beyond me.
Oh, well.
Because people are trapped in their I think we're off on YouTube.
Are they? Are we? Yeah.
Seriously, I was just trying to pull it up. I had the live stream up.
You can't find us anymore.
Well, shadow banning is a huge deal right now.
And you definitely can't find us on Facebook. If you're listening on Facebook, I kudos to you. You must be.
Boy,
You must not have had an update since since 2020. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, Rumble's the place to be. Just stay on Rumble, man. We get decent viewership on Rumble anyway. So
Yep.
But no, back to what you were saying. I wanted to add an additional point because this is that video I was telling you about. This lady is explaining because all this is an immigration problem. This is the George Soros borderless world thing that's putting us all at risk for, like you were saying, we don't have a huge risk from Canadians trying to sneak into America, right?
No.
right.
We don't have a huge risk from a lot of places, people sneaking into America.
Right.
But when it's a violent ideology, it is a high risk. It's a very high risk. And that's not against the people individually. It's against the ideology itself.
Yeah, the people are fine.
Yeah.
It's the ideology.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
But this is a video. Listen to these stats. These are absolutely nuts. And pardon the terrible background music.
Okay, where have you heard these stats before? Where is she getting her information?
Where's she getting hers? Yeah.
I mean, I'm so sick of this. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, whoops. I muted it. Let me refresh that. Sorry.
Consists of 56% migrants. The Hague, 58% migrants. Rotterdam, almost 60% migrants. And of course, most of these immigrants come from non-Christian, non-Western, African and Middle Eastern countries. Conclusion. The Dutch population is already outnumbered in the majority of our cities. But let's look onwards. London, 54% migrants. Again, conclusion, native population outnumbered. Brussels, color me shocked, 70% migrants. Conclusion, native population majorly outnumbered.
I hate this
and
background
other
music.
Europeans will, of course, follow suit soon if they haven't already. So I'm going to draw the forbidden conclusion here. The Great Replacement theory is no longer a theory.
Yeah.
It's reality. And what's interesting about replacement is that the establishment will either deny its existence, or when they admit to it, they say that it's a good thing that the native European population is soon no longer a majority on its own continent. Amsterdam.
That is
crazy, man.
But it's true, and we've been talking about this for a long time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because the whole ideologue, right, is reproduce quickly, move into an uncharted territory, get enough people there. I think it's 10% is the target, right?
That's where they start. Yeah,
10%,
They
and
can
then
start getting into politics.
Start to get into politics, demand your own things. This is all what they've been taught to do.
Yeah.
And so,
well, you have to understand the end goal, right? The end goal, we'll take Christianity versus Islam. The end goal of Christianity is simply for people to accept Jesus Christ and have your soul saved. That, I mean, that's it. It's not about overtaking, subjugating people, because as we've talked about before, our God's love is you can't force. There is no forced conversion. You can't.
Right, it's free will.
It's free will.
It's free will.
Free
Unless
will
you're a
to do it.
Calvinist, and then I can't help you. So go on.
But the other is a global caliphate.
Yeah.
The other option is a global caliphate.
Yeah, and in a sense, and I guess this is a great discussion, because you can look at it and go, no. You both want the same thing, right? You both want people to go to God. Like you want, Christianity wants people to come to a faith in Christ so that they can be eternally saved, right? Islam wants people to put their faith in Allah through the Prophet Muhammad, listen to his teachings. The one big difference here, though, the defining factor is, number one, Jesus said, I am the way, right? So nobody comes to the Father except by me. So therefore, in Christianity, that erases any other God, okay?
Yeah.
But the one big defining factor is that Christianity is free will. Then you have the choice to serve Jesus or not.
Right.
Jesus never said that if you choose to not serve him, then I'm going to inherit a planet full of virgins when I kill you for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the difference. Christianity is a religion of peace. It's also a religion of sword in some regards, because we are to speak truth in love to people, and that's like a sword to people.
Yeah.
Hurts. Yeah. Sometimes it hurts to say, yeah, you know what? You probably shouldn't be living with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
That hurts. I really love her. Well, it's not God's best for your life.
Yeah.
He said it, not me. That's truth.
Yeah. And Jesus died for us, the only figurehead of a religion that dies for
right,
the people.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he didn't come in they wanted him to come in as a king and wipe out the Romans, and it's not about war and like all that, like fighting and all that stuff.
Well, but it is. I think that it is spiritually,
Spiritually, yes.
right?
Yeah.
The
Not
stuff
fit-
you don't see.
Right.
And so what the enemy does, and remember, and I preached on this, Ben, you might remember this because it was good. It was good. The highest form of flattery is imitation, right? So, we've got the temple built in Jerusalem. It's destroyed. What's there now? A fake temple, right?
Yeah.
Satan's temple. Because it the highest form of flattery. Satan wants to be God. That's his.
Right.
I want to be like him. I want to be him. And so the religion that he controls, his prophet Muhammad, and yes, I am absolutely 100% calling Islam a satanic religion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
His prophet Muhammad versus Jesus. There's no comparison there.
Right.
But we believe the words of Jesus, though. They believe the words of Jesus.
Right. Yes.
It's bizarre.
It is weird.
But then they twist it all. It's like we believe the word of Jesus, but go out and kill people for not believing in Muhammad,
Yeah.
Yeah.
said Jesus.
Believe the book. Believe, Jesus was born of a virgin.
Oh,
Jesus
they
was,
believe Jesus all in
all
the
of
person
that.
all day.
Right.
I mean, oh yeah.
Well, if I love watching the apologists who go against, people.
Yes.
Like that go against Islam, where it's like if the Quran. Okay. Oh gosh, I'm going to mess it up now because I didn't plan to say this. If every word of the Quran, if the Quran tells you to believe the Bible, if the Quran tells you to believe in Jesus, then the Quran cannot be true because the Bible tells you, which is the word of God. They said the Bible is the word of God. Right. If the word of God is there will be no other gods before me, then and basically the Quran is antithetical to the Bible.
Yeah.
Then the Quran is not right, but the Bible is.
Right. And the Quran
can't be true.
And the Quran says believe, right?
Right.
In that. So if you believe that, you can't believe the Quran.
Right.
Even though it's telling you to believe that. So it's kind of like, okay, whatever. It's a moot point.
Yeah.
It is. It really is. We serve a God who died for us. And you can willingly give up your life for him. People do. People are getting hung from bridges, right? You're in Bangladesh right now. Believing in Christ, it's a rough place to be because Islam is there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't ask you to take the life of another person.
Bingo.
In the name of.
You can willingly lay down your life.
Right.
Right.
That's your choice.
Yeah.
Because Christianity is free will. Nowhere does it say kill the infidel.
No.
I think it was Frank Turek that said God. One of the core tenets of Christianity, and this is a great way to put it, is that if you choose not to follow Christ, that God loves you too much to make you spend eternity with him.
Yeah.
So if you reject Christ and you reject God,
That's good.
He loves you too much
Right.
to make you spend
Because
eternity.
he respects
You
your
have the,
choice.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. I love you too much to force you into something
Right.
you don't want to do.
Right.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of heavy.
That's
It is kind of heavy, isn't it?
very heavy.
Yeah.
He has a couple of heavy things. Have you ever listened to him?
Oh, yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah,
he's
he's good.
good. And that one guy, who's the guy, the tall, skinny dude that's been on the college campuses? What's his name? He's an amazing apologist, and he's been on some big podcasts. He was on Janko. George, is it George Janko? George.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. He's been on that one. I think he was on Logan Paul, or not Logan Paul, but
It's not Ken Ham, is it? Ken Ham's older, I think.
yeah, I don't know. What are the Paul boys? I'm supposed to know this stuff.
Oh, Logan and
Which is the one that has Impulsive, the podcast? Is that Logan?
I don't know.
I forget which one it is.
I don't know.
the one that's not the boxer.
Yeah.
I think it's Logan.
Oh,
it's
speaking
Logan,
of
yeah.
boxers, do we have a gold medalist and a silver medalist in women's Olympic boxing now, or women's
Dudes.
like
Now, have you heard about what this is? So it's
Go ahead.
okay.
I've got some weird.
just
So this is a physical anomaly.
Yes.
yes,
That they have undescended testes.
yeah,
Yes.
I'm gonna get a little scientific here for
Yeah.
everybody.
Go ahead.
But they essentially have undescended testes.
Right.
So it's almost like intersex, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of like intersex, and yet they are able to produce higher levels of testosterone because
What are
they
the
have.
odds that they found each other in boxing?
that they both wound up boxing. It's such a small. It's like 1/100th of 1%.
I mean, you think
that
about
happens
it. You
to.
know they're going to date after this.
And that they.
Well, they were okay.
I mean, can they date or like?
So I had
they
a,
can,
I
right?
had a
Or-
post on Facebook about this was nothing was really out about this when it initially came. So I thought by the information that we were given at the time, which is how we make most decisions, that yes, it was a man that beat up
A woman
against a woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Domestic violence happens
Right.
all the time. Yep.
Yeah. So as the more that some of my friends on the left told me about what it was, yeah, okay. So I researched it, and it was that there was a good comparison that somebody that I know does not agree with me politically. It's a great comparison. And when I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, that can't argue against this really. You know, Michael Phelps has much longer arms than most swimmers, so he can reach.
Correct.
There's going to be people with abnormalities that can gain an advantage in a sporting event. Secretariat horse had double the size of a heart of any other horse. Mm-hmm. Horse is going to win. And I had to retract my thing a little bit and just say, if it in fact is true, because we don't 100% know, the media could have, I mean, I know her dad came out with pictures and birth certificate and that kind of thing. But in the conspiratorial world, did they do this to make it, you see what I'm saying? Did they do it to make it okay or whatever? But I had to update my post.
So if the world games said no to them,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Because they said this is unfair.
Yeah.
As athletes,
Yeah.
shame on them.
Exactly. If she's my final conclusion with it, if she is biologically female, then she can compete in female boxing.
But she's not.
But
He's not.
but
It's a she,
it's a
he,
he,
that's
she.
that's negotiable because of the intersex.
Yeah.
But if they took a test with in the world championships, whatever that was I think it's done by the Russians or the ones who do the testing.
Yes.
Not the IOC, but whoever the other one is. They got disqualified because they
XY.
Well, they said, and here this is the verbiage. I was listening to Cenk. Piers Morgan had a whole panel of people discussing this, and they said they failed the chromosomal test.
Okay.
Well, there's only two options.
Right.
XX and XY.
Right. Right.
If you failed to the test to see if you're a female, then you're a male. So it means they tested XY. They said, well, we didn't release the test results. Well, there's only two options. If you failed, you've got XY chromosomes.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself is competitive advantage because if you have, like you say, you're right. If they tested XX, but they had this ability to produce higher testosterone, some women have higher testosterone, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles, I guess. But they didn't even do testosterone testing. It was just they drew the line saying, if those are your chromosomes, you can't compete. The IOC said, we're not going to do that. We're going to go by the birth certificate and their passport and all that stuff, that's all you can self-declare that, right? You can.
Well, but let's say, let's come back to this, circle back just a second, Jen Psaki, because we're going to say this.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah, I know. What happened to her anyway? She's got a show. Last time I knew, and then she just kind of disappeared. Or is she still out there?
She still has a show on MSNBC, I think.
Nobody watches it, so it's like
rarely.
It's kind of like she's dead. Same. So anyway, you've got a biological anomaly, two of them in the same year competing in the Olympics.
Yeah.
You want the answer to the problem because I don't know how to fix that. I'm not angry at them for growing up as a woman.
Yeah.
Even though they're not fully woman.
Well, that had to be very hard on them too. So
yes,
there's a lot of sympathy.
There's got to be a lot of sympathy, but at least you've got to know going into that, like, yeah, I'm a good boxer, but am I that good? I can knock somebody out in one punch, and am I that good?
Yeah.
And you've got to start to question, especially knowing what you know about your own body and all that stuff. Like, okay, this isn't fair. So what the Olympics needed to do is be like, yeah, doping for the women boxers is fine. They can snort testosterone. And
On camera.
and steroids. We don't care
Yeah.
because it's not fair.
Yeah.
It just simply isn't fair. And these women could get into, truthfully, because they can go either way, they could also get into the men's ring. They should, because they're part man, part woman. Biologically, an anomaly. I get it. These things happen.
Yeah.
But
Well, and this is very new too. I mean, you got to think female boxing has only been around since what, the sixth? Like somebody quoted it.
they
I
need
was
to
listening
abolish it
today.
after this. It's causing too much confusion. I mean,
Confused. I mean,
I wouldn't want to make that decision.
Look, I'm okay with it, but look at MMA and Fallon Fox. Fallon Fox was terrible, but Fallon Fox would go in and nearly kill these women. It was a guy. It was a legit guy.
Yes.
Going in and just beating up women. And, I mean, Riley Gaines has been doing a really good job as a swimmer, for all that kind of stuff, speaking out against it and trying to stand up for women. But contact sports, man, this is new turf.
It is. It is. But again, we're not talking about men identifying as women. That's the hard thing. We're talking about half women.
yeah. When you never, here's the difference. You never ever see. Let me see if I get this right. It's crazy. I have to think about this.
I already know what you're going to say. You never see them sweat because women wear secret, but those women probably wear Old Spice.
Very good. Yep.
Is that where you were going? Not even close.
Not close, but I see where you're going.
Yeah.
You never see a woman trying to transition, hardly ever, into a man. Wait a minute. Let me see if I I got to think about this.
No, you're right.
Okay.
Well,
It's
transgender men is a woman. A transgender woman is a man.
I don't even, dude.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
But all I gotta say is Leah Thomas. Okay, so
right, Leah Thomas.
it's always when the guy can't make it and can't win something in the men's league or anything. Oh, I'm going to become a woman so then I can win.
Yeah.
Well, if that's their driving force, shame on them. But if they're just uncomfortable in their own skin and then they happen to play, I don't know, volleyball.
That girl almost got her skull cracked, or did get her skull cracked open.
Yes.
Right?
Golly.
So it's a problem.
Well, so here's the other part of this. A lot of this is sexual proclivity.
Absolutely.
So someone's sexual proclivities are leading them into sports where they can now have access to the locker rooms. They can.
Oh, yeah.
This is
Oh, yeah.
this is legit dangerous, and you feel for the people. But we're also, by doing this, we are ceding ground. It's no different than somebody who's bipolar telling them to lean into their bipolar disorder. Anybody who's depressed, lean into your depression. This person suffers from what has always been known in the DSM.
Yep.
Is the DSM, in that right?
DSM.
Yep. That it's gender dysphoria. That's a problem. And it's very sad that they have to deal with that.
It is.
And one day maybe they'll figure out a cause. But until that point, you can't enable a mental health problem and at the same time put women at risk.
Until you stop labeling it a mental health problem and then you just want to accept it. And, listen, it's part of the agenda, right? It's so simple. It's so incredibly simple. When we spin it all back to the beginning, the roots, we spin it back. He's a liar. When he speaks lies. It's his native tongue, right? And so anything that the enemy can do to you, to me, to the nation, to get us to believe something to be true, that's a lie, is a W for him. And the W not only is that I'm a man, I want to become a woman. Okay, that's a lie.
Yeah.
No, I'm a woman trapped in a man's body. That's a lie. Right. So that he's won there, and then he doubles down. So he wins there, but then he wins by society saying, I want to be really loving. I'm going to accept you the way that you are, the way that you want to be. Because that's the loving thing. Lie number 2. Loving says no.
Yep.
Loving corrects.
Right.
God says, I chastise the ones I love.
And there's a lot of God-fearing people that fall into that.
Yes.
Because Jesus would love. Yes, he would. And he does. However,
Spoke truth.
yeah, exactly.
You cannot compassion in the name of wanting to be loving, in the name of all the things that Christ is, go, yeah, all right, it's okay.
Yep.
When Jesus is going, you know what? I didn't always say it was okay.
Yeah,
I said, go and sin no more.
right.
I said, yeah, you're sleeping with somebody now and you've had 7. You're
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, yes, I did say ye was without sin cast the first stone, right? I did say that.
But you don't enable it. You don't embrace it.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Exactly.
It's the embracing of it. It's
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and the lie has grown to a point where for you to speak out on the truth becomes hateful
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
when really it's loving.
Even a danger to society.
Yes. And I love what is it? Teller or Penn, whoever the one of them said, you know, if you're a believer in Christ and you don't tell me about Jesus and save me from hell, that means you really must hate me.
Oh, man.
What a brilliant way of putting it.
Yeah.
And so it's the same token. Do we love them enough to speak out and say, no, you're not a woman.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You don't belong on the women's swim team.
Yeah.
And, you know, do we support the father who goes to jail because he dealt with the trans that went into his daughter's locker room? Right?
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do. Right? Hello, dads.
I know.
What do you do? Oh, I don't want to go to jail. I want to keep it clean. No, somebody needs to teach this guy a lesson. Nobody did.
Yep.
Nobody's taught him a lesson because if he knew a lesson, he wouldn't be doing this. Right? So, okay. We are never going to be on Facebook or YouTube again.
No, we won't.
But that's okay.
Yeah. I was trying to hold back something that Alex. Have you ever heard of Alex Stein?
Oh, yeah.
Calls himself Primetime 99. Very vulgar.
Okay.
Yes.
And he said he was talking about the betting markets, and he was like, he had Riley Gaines on, and he's like, Riley, I need you to stop with all this transgender stuff because I've got some bets out there, you know, on these guys.
Yeah. I gotta win. It's pretty much a sure
Oh
bet.
my gosh,
That's hilarious.
No, the live stream froze, so I had to go in here and make sure we were good.
Oh, I tell you what, it's also 10:03.
Yes, it is.
School has started in the beautiful, beautiful city. We are full underway of fall. As far as I'm concerned, football can start Saturday. Well, it does for my boys, right? But they don't count.
Oh, it's
talking
coming.
legit football.
It's coming.
Yeah, we're gonna have a great season this year. Both teams.
Y'all are ranked 25th. I saw that in the preseason polls.
Shut the front door. Well, we should be. With that defense, it's better than Georgia's defense.
If you have any bit of offense, it'd be
Yeah,
great.
we will this year. We will. Y'all, what do y'all rank? 5th?
15.
15th?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even look at the preseason. They don't matter, though.
They don't.
Game 1, that's what matters.
It's like polls before the election. They don't matter.
Kamala's up.
So, gosh, here's what I think the deception was for the polls. But then I'll shut up. Is that they've been so accurate, like starting in the primaries. The polls have lined up with the primaries. Now's the time that the pollsters start pulling the trigger on the deception, and they're going to give us completely skewed polls. It's going to be because we've been trusting them. Everybody's been trusting. The polls say.
Yeah, it's a gong show. Although the Trump election upset that whole apple cart, so nobody believes him anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Hillary was up
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Hillary was up
Hillary's
like
got a Hillary's
20
got a
points.
slaughterhouse. and
But they've
it's-
been trying to regain some credibility, but they're going to start.
When your base is biased, you can't, I'm going to go ahead and poll Philadelphia downtown.
Yes.
Can't believe it. Trump's losing. Come on. All right, I want to go ahead and let's go out to the farm. And let's go ahead and pull 700 square miles here in the middle of nowhere.
We polled 10 people at the DNC.
Right.
Right.
10-0 Kamala. It's crazy.
It's unbelievable. I can't believe it. It's not one person is voting for Trump.
Have y'all ever been called for a poll?
No,
I have.
Never.
Yes.
Have you really? Okay,
Yeah,
I never have.
And at Quinnipiac.
Are you serious?
Yeah. But I was out east.
Holy cow.
And
I've never been called.
And guess what I did? I don't have time for this. Thanks.
There we go.
So,
Yeah.
it started out
You vote
innocent.
for Biden back then, too?
It started out innocent enough.
Yeah.
But they didn't go right for the jugular, like, who you voting for?
Mm-hmm.
It was like, you know, do you feel that blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, well, what is this? Where's this coming from?
Yeah.
You know who I bet is getting pulled right now is my wife gets more mail from political parties, and I don't know what she has done
We haven't
to
received.
earn this right. But I'm going to tell you, we got one last week. She got one from Mike Huckabee that was a manila envelope.
From Mike Huckabee?
Yes, with like paid, like legitimate stamped, 78 cents or whatever. And it's trying to generate money for the Republican base, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, who do you know? Like who do they think you are?
This year, we received 0 political mailers.
Yeah.
0.
Well, I don't
Never
know.
happened.
I mean, what's amazing is, my wife is not she's political, but she's not a political person.
Right. She's going to be best friends with Sarah Huckabee Sanders
She-
soon. That's going to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someday.
Someday.
But she is the least aggressive political person
yes.
ever.
Yeah.
And
I have a friend. He was looking at me that way. I have a friend whose wife is very close friends with Sarah Huckabee Sanders, actually.
true story. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but I couldn't believe it. I opened this. I'm like, this is to you from Governor Huckabee. Like, what in the world?
All right.
Because he's not even a governor anymore. Like, I'm like, this. He's got his own show, and it's a manila envelope, like padded vanilla, like manila, legit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I opened it up, and
He's a firm user of Relaxium sleep, is what he is.
yes, he is, and also
Is he?
he's
I don't know what Relaxium sleep
first
is.
of
You
all.
watch Fox enough, and you will.
First of all, let's
definitely
just
know
talk
what
about
Relaxium
this.
sleep
The number one, it's like the number one news channel in the country, right?
Yeah.
Why in the world do we end up with Sleep Number?
Mm.
But you can watch Coke commercials on MV. You know what I'm saying? Like
we got Mike Lindell too.
Mike Lindell, hey.
My pillow man.
So, but why are the commercials and the sponsors so fruity compared
Oh
to
God, it is
the mainstream? At least when you watch MSNBC and those commercial breaks are all for AstraZeneca, most of them, right? but outside of that, and they're creative. Their commercials
Yeah.
are good. Ours are like,
We're AstraZeneca and we're here to help, right?
right?
That's-
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, Fox News is all catheters, pillows, and
Yeah. It's just like they know their base: catheters,
Yeah.
pillows.
I'm telling
Help!
you, man,
I've fallen and I can't get up.
life alert, man. Life alert.
They know their base, and we're not supposed to be watching them.
Because we don't, those young people, they don't buy anything. Let's sell some catheters.
Yeah. Depends. But, yeah.
Oh,
Anyway.
gracious me.
Oh, we've derailed, and we're going to keep them on 10 minutes
okay.
after.
That's all
Thank you guys for joining in with us
Yep,
tonight. It's
appreciate
been
it.
a blessing and an honor. We love talking and sharing. And as always, if you have questions or comments or just really like having Ben back on the show, drop us a line at thebraverthantheRest@gmail.com. ThebraverthantheRest@gmail.com. We should actually talk about next time why we started doing this in the first place.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I don't remember. So I'm hoping that you can help with that. Yeah. So anyway, as always, keep your eyes to the skies because our King is returning soon. And I don't know what time it is in Israel right now, but they could be getting lit up. As far we're in the dark here as far as that stuff goes. But man, it's gonna happen soon.
It's 4:10 in the morning. So
Oh, from 4 to 7.
Yep.
From 4 to 7, no flights over Iran.
you got it.
Okay. Well, there we go.
Here we go.
All right. Thank you guys for joining in tonight. As always, Jared, thank you.
Absolutely.
Good fun. See you next week.